Yes, Dustin, what's going on, man? How's everything?
Great, brother. Great. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you taking a little time to chat with me as always. I assume you are still down in Louisiana. I saw obviously doing some stuff with the Good Fight Foundation, so you're staying busy even though you don't have a fight scheduled at this exact moment.
Yeah, got to stay busy, man. I'm always doing something.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me start there with the Good Fight Foundation. Obviously, I've been following along on Instagram and Twitter, everything you're doing out there. I mean, obviously, this is an important cause to you, but this, right now, what's going on with the coronavirus pandemic seems like a time for everyone to kind of gather together and help each other out. I thought that was huge what you do. I know you don't do it for the praise, man, but that is huge what you're doing, and kind of give me the idea, like, how that all came together to do this for the people who are working in the medical field, doing this for them.
You know, with the foundation me and my wife started, we like to do stuff here in our local community. We try to affect the people directly around us and where we grew up and where we live. We have done things outside of the state of Louisiana, but we just saw an opportunity to help the people on the front lines, during this pandemic. You know, even if it's something like as small as providing them with a meal, providing them with a lunch, just to help out in any way we can. You know, we did 1,000 meals to 3 local hospitals here in Lafayette, Louisiana, to the medical staff, and just doing everything we can to try to help our community, no matter how small the things might be.
Yeah, I imagine, it's like I said, it's times like these where we really need to gather together and help each other, right? I mean, especially when you think about the people working on the front lines. I mean, they're the ones who are, taking the biggest risks right now.
Yeah, we are all we have. And the more people understand that, the more people lift each other up and support each other, the further we'll go. So that's just life, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I got to ask, though, how are your pizza making skills? I saw the photo. How good of a pizza does Dustin Poirier make?
Oh, dude, I can make a good pizza. My buddy owns two pizza shops here called Dino's in Lafayette, Louisiana. They make great pizzas. I saw people talking trash in the comments saying there's no crust, the cheese is spread too far to the edge, but they don't understand this is a different kind of pizza. This ain't a Domino's crust pizza. These kind of pizzas we make out here in Lafayette, Louisiana are a little bit different.
They're just as delicious, so that's all that matters.
No, they're better.
I love it. When we last spoke, Dustin, it was kind of at the start of all this madness before everything had kind of went crazy. How are you and the family doing in Louisiana? Obviously every state's been hit by this, but how are you and the family holding up down there?
We're doing good, man. We're just, just like everybody else, kind of going stir crazy. Fortunately for me, I have a gym 3 miles away from my home, a personal gym. So I can go and hit the bags and shadow box, and I have a couple buddies who have pro experience in Lafayette, Louisiana. So, we kind of rotate. They'll come meet me and we'll wrestle a little bit here and there. But other than that, it's just stuck in the house thinking, man.
Yeah. I know we're dealing with a lot of unknowns right now. What was going to happen this week, and of course, with UFC 249 getting canceled, I had seen some comments you had made about the fight between Khabib and Justin, Khabib falling out and Tony fighting Justin. What did you make of that whole madness? I mean, because again, everything in the lightweight division, even if it doesn't directly affect you, it does affect you because obviously your goal is to get back to the title, and you're looking for these big fights, and all these kind of weird things happen, kind of do affect you in a way.
Yeah, honestly, nothing really surprises me anymore in mixed martial arts, in any weight class, in any organization. When I see headlines, I'm just like, wow, okay, that's what we're doing today. But, but yeah, whoever won that fight, that matchup, everything affects my future in some way in that division because, like you said, I'm trying to get back to the title. And, dude, I just want big fights, man. I just want the big fights. I just want the highest ranked guys I can get. And I just want to get back in there and get my hand raised, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I believe I saw another interview where you said that, had the fight happen, you actually believe Justin would have beaten Tony.
Yeah. This is MMA. Anything could happen on any given night. But stylistically, the way I saw it matching up is I thought the only thing that was in the back of my mind that I thought would work against my prediction was Justin's his cardio. I didn't know if he had I don't know how hard he was pushing in the gym before he got the call. I don't know what shape he was in. The endurance could have came into factor if it had went past, third, fourth, fifth round. I think then Tony could have started pulling away, but I thought in my head, I had Justin stopping him early.
Yeah. Again, we're dealing with so many unknowns right now, but I'm playing the hypothetical game because I got to be honest, Dustin, I just miss fights, man. I mean, last week I was thinking about it because, like, God, it's been so long since I've watched a fight. So let me play the hypothetical game with you. If you're Tony Ferguson, I mean, do you sit and wait for Khabib, who's not going to be back till September? Do you try to book another fight? Like, if you're him, what do you do? Because he's in a weird situation. Like, do you want to waste this training camp? Like, if they get Fight Island up and running and they say, hey, you can fight a month from now, do you fight? Like, what do you do?
It's tough for me to call that, man, because I'm not in his shoes. I don't know what he's thinking, how he's feeling. A lot of things play into that decision making. It's tough to say. I know I want to fight.
I know you were preparing for May 16th, and even when the fight was supposed to happen this weekend before it got canceled, you had said, hey, you and Hooker can still go welterweight, probably not lightweight right now, but can I assume you are staying ready for the opportunity when it does come? Because I've heard, the UFC is telling people, it could be 30 days, stay ready, we want to get people in. That's what I've heard anyways, you tell me, but I've heard, they're telling people, like, stay ready. So are you staying ready?
I mean, I'm staying as ready as I can. I can't train. I can just run and hit bags, and pretty much, we'll see what happens, dude. I'm staying in decent shape, but that's not fight shape. That's not fight camp shape. That's not peaking for a fight. That's just general health, staying good, trying to stay crisp with my boxing and my wrestling, stuff like that. Doing what I can do. We'll see, man. I don't know what's going to happen in the next couple months.
Yeah. I know you like the matchup with Hooker, and I like the matchup with Hooker as well, but obviously we're dealing with a lot of unknowns right now. I mean, obviously, I'm sure, and you said it on Twitter, you gladly still fight Dan Hooker, but there are other opportunities out there right now. I mean, the Conor fight is still out there, and I don't want to keep coming back to him because I don't want to make it sound like you're just constantly calling out Conor McGregor, but that fight is still out there. I mean, do you just kind of look at your options right now before you make any snap judgments? Because I'm sure you would fight Dan Hooker, but, I mean, come on, let's not kid ourselves. If a Conor McGregor fight came up, I'm sure you'd rather have that.
Of course, I'd rather have that. Like I said, I want the biggest and highest ranked guys that I can get. I'm not circling back around to these guys or begging for fights. I'll fight Dan Hooker, no problem. But my job is to get the biggest fights, get the most money, get the highest ranked opponents that I can get. So whenever I see people and opportunities that make sense, like me and Conor, of course I would push for that.
Yeah. I mean, the Conor fight would be big, and I know, again, we're dealing with, we don't know what's going to happen now that Gaethje isn't fighting Tony, but again, that fight could get rescheduled tomorrow. We have no idea what's going to happen, but I think you and Conor is still a very, very big fight, and Conor, Conor makes it sound like he doesn't want to sit out forever, and he wants to stay active, and obviously he's not going to get Khabib next. We know that's not going to happen now with Khabib out until at least September, so I think you and him still makes a lot of sense, and I know people were talking about the Gaethje fight as well, but I think you and Conor does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, for sure, man, it does. It just depends on what the UFC has in mind and Conor's time frame that he wants to fight. A lot of factors play into all this decision making, but I'm definitely open to the fight.
What about doing it at welterweight? I know you mentioned welterweight was a possibility. Is that still an opening for you that you would consider that?
I'd love that. I'd love it at welterweight. I'd love it in a boxing ring. I'd love it in MMA. I'd take it at 185. I don't care. I just want the biggest fights that I can get. And that's definitely one of them.
A boxing ring. I like to hear that one. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, dude. They're talking about Zoo for boxing. I've been open about that. I would love to box Nate Diaz or Conor McGregor in the octagon or in a boxing ring.
Now, that would be awesome, and I think some of those crossover possibilities are there, especially if they do Zuffa boxing. Why not? I mean, obviously you have that background. I know you got a great coach down to American Top Team. That would seem like a really fun idea. And who does it hurt? Who does it hurt by crossing over and doing a boxing match?
Right. It hurts the guy I fight. That's what it hurts.
But it doesn't hurt the promotion. It's actually still a fun promotion, I guess. Yeah. What I'm saying. When you initially put out that tweet about Conor, I think you said something about Conor at 170 or something like that. The Conor fight. We dug up the photo from your first fight with Conor. when it was at featherweight. And I looked at it and I literally said to some of my coworkers, I was like, I do not understand how you used to cut down to 145 pounds. Do you ever look back at those photos and think to yourself, how in the hell did I ever make 145 pounds?
Yeah, man. 155 is tough, bro. Another 10 pounds? Well, I mean, but I lived the lifestyle I had to live to be able to make that weight. It wasn't enjoyable. You know, my day-to-day life outside of fight camp, even fight camp was brutal, but it was just tough. You know, I was starving myself all the time.
Does it seem like a lifetime ago at this point? Because when I saw that photo, I was like, man, I don't even recognize this guy.
It does seem like a long time ago, but, you know, like, for me, the way I judge time is kind of by fights. I look back, like if somebody says, you remember 4 years ago what we did or whatever? And I kind of remember, I look back and think about who did I fight that year? And then that's how I judge time. And there's so many fights since that fight, it feels like a long time ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, to that point, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up. Literally today, and I'm sure you've had this brought up to you, is the 1 year anniversary of your fight with Max Holloway. Literally 1 year ago today, you won the interim title. We talked a lot after that fight, and obviously before the Khabib fight. And since we've talked a lot since that fight, but what are your biggest memories of that 1 year ago today?
You know, getting the belt wrapped around me. When I got back to my room after the fight, my wife telling me that she said, I told you so, I told you were going to do it. And those things, you know, her saying that, and those things stand out the most to me. But, you know, I'm just thankful for that night. Me and Max put on a great fight. You know, we're both bleeding, both hurting. We pushed hard. The rounds were great. I just remember as a young fighter, as a young kid, praying to have an opportunity to have those kind of fights, you know. And those are the kind of fights that I want to be involved in, the ones that you have to dig down, the ones that the fans are on their feet, you know. That's what I fight for. I love that feeling. I love that push. I love the uncertainty of every round. It's just something special about those kind of nights, and that's a night that'll live forever. You know, that night in Atlanta, Georgia, I'm never going to forget.
What do you, like, obviously I know going into that fight you had so much respect for Max Holloway, and I know that doesn't change, but when you share 25 minutes in the cage with a guy like that, I know you already had a tremendous respect for him beforehand, but is that one of those things where you can always remember, like, looking back, like one day, you know, 20 years from now, you run into Max Holloway somewhere, and you guys can still reminisce about that epic fight, because that was what it was. There's no other better word. It was an epic fight.
The guy's a warrior. You know, I'm thankful for him. For being there, for bringing that kind of fight out of me, for stepping up to the occasion, going up a weight class and challenging and trying to, you know, break another record. You know, I can't wait to see him fight again.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I get you out of here, Dustin, one thing we didn't get a chance, literally, I think we talked days before this happened, and you know me, I'm not trying to stir controversy by any stretch of the imagination, but obviously American Top Team is your home, and I know you plan on going back there as soon as they open back up and it's, you know, safe and everything for you to go back there. I know you did have a bit of a past with Colby Covington, and I'm sure you saw he issued an apology to you, and I'm sure you saw Dan Lambert, you know, speak out and say that, you know, we're going to stop all this, you know, kind of inter-team fighting. I'm not looking for a big mea culpa about your feelings on Colby. Were you happy that he did that? He apologized, and are you looking forward to returning to a more happier American Top Team when you do go back there?
You know, I'm looking forward to getting back in the gym with my coaches. I'm fortunate that I went there at the beginning of the year. I got to spend 2 months training every day with my coaches and with the team. I didn't have a fight coming up. I just was feeling good after surgery, and I wanted to get back on the match with those guys. So I went there for 2 months. I'm thankful I did that, because if I would have stayed home those 2 months and then been quarantined for no telling how long now, it'd have been upsetting. You know, I'm glad I got the work in. I'm looking forward to getting back there. Looking forward to getting better, working on my craft. As far as the Kobe stuff, you know, it is what it is. That's all. You know, I don't want to talk about none of that stuff.
Yeah.
Life goes on.
Yeah. Is it one of those, I imagine it's one of those, just like anything else, man, you get mired in too much negativity, it does weigh you down, right? Like, you don't want to get mired in that negativity, because it does hurt. After a period of time, it just eats away at you, right?
Yeah, it makes me, I try to stay positive as I can, and good vibes only, man.
Yeah, and I know that atmosphere down there. I've been down there with you at American Top Team. I know that is a phenomenal team. I always bring it up, and I know you laugh when I bring it up. And man, I got to see you spar with Jorge Masvidal down there. I'm one of the rare people that actually got to see that fight happen live and in front of me. So I know what a team atmosphere you guys have down there. I know how much you love everyone at American Top Team.
Yeah, man. We got some very, very high level talent there. Some very good training, very good coaches. The atmosphere in the room when there's guys like George and Thiago Alves and just, you know, veterans of the sport on the mats, all these guys at the same time, there's just so much knowledge being passed around, and I'm thankful to be able to be part of those kind of training sessions. You know, I learned a lot in those times.
Yeah. I know you miss it too right now, man. I know we're talking about it. I'm sure you miss it right now too.
Yeah, I'm about to get out of here and go for a jog, man. Do what I can.
Absolutely. Well, Dustin, I always appreciate taking the time, man. Obviously, stay safe down there, man. Hopefully next time we talk is when you actually have a fight booked. I know everything's kind of crazy and up in the air right now, but I know you're itching for it. So thank you for always taking the time, man. Enjoy training down there. Hope the family's safe, and keep up the good work with the Good Fight Foundation, man. You guys are doing amazing things.